You've been widely depicted as skeptical of research, are you?
Not at all, and I'm really delighted to be able to answer that. I think that perhaps the most important aspect of advertising is how you say what has to be said, because by and large, we can find out what to say. I am a very, very firm believer in research, but you owe a responsibility to research. After research helps you find out what to say, you owe it to research to say it in a fresh and new way. Now, in hair coloring, we did the research, and we find out, as all our competitors found out, that women most want to avoid looking artificial when they color their hair. Well, everybody found that out, so everybody began to say you will look natural. But we said it, and everybody else was saying it. And when everybody says the same thing, you don't stand out. And therefore, your impact is tremendously reduced, and there's even confusion and misidentification. Well, all we did was nice and easy, with virtually no change of any kind, not even the content. We wanted to say natural. We said, how can we say it in a fresh way so that it's no longer hackneyed? And we changed that natural bit to, it lets me be me. Now, that is virtually saying the same thing, but it's also saying what you are is pretty good, and we're going to make the most of it for you. Well, I would say in the last 5 years, since this campaign started, with virtually no other change of any kind, there hasn't been a Nielsen that was lower than the previous Nielsen, and today it's the biggest selling hair coloring, I would say, in the world, and it's gone beyond anything in the Clairol business.
Do you find that in packaged goods advertising, research plays a bigger role?
Not at all. Not at all. I think it plays a big role in everything, but it plays a limited role. Mm-hmm. It plays the role up to a point. It plays the role of telling you what's in the market, what people think, and so on. But how to touch them and reach them is something that research was never meant to do. It's a lazy way to do it. For example, many years ago, Levy bread, Levy Jewish rye bread, came to us and discussed with us the using of the old, it was the old World Telegram that I have in mind now. They didn't have that on the schedule at all, but they had the Post, the New York Post. Now, I asked them why, and they said, well, the New York Post has an 80% Jewish circulation. This is Levy's Jewish rye. Obviously, therefore, you have to use the Post. Well, that's a bit lazy thinking, because if you delved into it a bit more deeply, you know that Levy's Jewish rye is a great Jewish rye, but it's a packaged Jewish rye. It's done up in wax paper, it's sliced, and then delivered to the store. At that time, things are a bit different now, but at that time, in Jewish neighborhoods, you could go to your local Jewish bakery at the corner and get a bread fresh out of the oven. And the taste was absolutely marvelous. And I suggested that we put it in the World Telegram, which had a majority of Gentile people as its circulation. They didn't know about the corner bakery, and it was a perfectly good bread, but they wouldn't know about it and therefore be very happy with it. And we changed, and our sales went up. The trouble with research is that you can be so easily superficial about the information you get. I think after you get the information from research, you've just begun your work. And I think we are fairer to research by having this attitude, because we don't ask research to do what it was never meant to do, and that is get an idea.
From whence came the line, you don't have to be Jewish?
Well, there's a whole interesting story with that I would like to tell you, that we always called it, they used to call it Levy's rye bread. Levy's, and I said, let's put Jewish in, let's call it Levy's Jewish rye bread. And the man from the client said to me, well, let's not do that. He said, the people are liable to be anti-Semitic and liable not to like that word Jewish. I said, for goodness sake, your name is Levy's. People are not going to mistake you for a high Episcopalian.
Listen, Bill, now we're at the point, do you think that research inhibits good creative work?
I don't think so at all. As a matter of fact, I think that a good creative man demands great research, demands a good account executive, because he doesn't want his efforts wasted on a lack of knowledge and on the false premise, as I said before.
What about clients? You've been depicted as fairly intransigent as far as permitting client changes in advertising.
Well,
Are you?
No. I don't think it's my nature to be that way, but it's a myth that grew up, and I guess it was good ammunition for someone competing with us. I don't know, but that's not true. What we do, I think that any agency that doesn't stand up for what he believes in, that doesn't have convictions about his work, is not going to do great work, because work without conviction won't sell. Somehow or other, when a man writes an ad, what he feels somehow gets into the tone of that ad. And I would hate to be responsible for advertising I didn't believe in. And I think it's bad business. So what we do, we always say to the client, after all, it is his money, and he has to make the final decision. But we owe it to him to tell him what we believe and why. And we think that out of a reasonable discussion, the right answer will come. And we've had very little problem with that.